Yo, it's your boy Bernard, aka the Scarlet Spider, and welcome to another episode of the Angry Blerd podcast, where I'll be trying to get through all the stuff that came out this week, because it wasn't really a lot. So, very slow news week. Please bear with me. What the hell is on my face? Is that a scar?
What the fuck is that?
Whatever. Alright, first things first, we have to give a rest in peace to Jon Landau. So a lot of us don't know who Jon Landau is unless you're a sociopath like me and you read the credits for movies. Jon Landau was basically one of James Cameron's longtime friends and collaborating partners. So he was a producer who worked with Jon Landau. Who worked with James Cameron. I want to say maybe since Titanic, but he was the executive vice president a feature film production at 20th Century Fox. So he was responsible for producing Jurassic Park. He produced a movie called Campus Man in the 80s that starred John Dye. Don't know who that is. Looks like a bootleg Patrick Swayze. Solaris, Avatar, Alita Battle Angel, Avatar The Way of Water. He also was producing Avatar 3 and 4, co-produced Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and one of my childhood favorites, because I don't know how this movie stands up now, because it's a pulp film that's based off of a comic, Dick Tracy. But yeah, he actually passed away today, the day I'm recording this, July 6th, at the age of 63 from cancer. So I have to give rest in peace to him and condolences to his family. A show that I knew was coming, but I really wasn't, super duper excited about it. I mean, it's not like I was apprehensive about it either, but the Batman Arkham show, which was supposed to tie into the Batman, is no longer moving forward at Max. They didn't give a reason why, but all they really said was that it seems like they're going to be doing a lot more focus on like the Penguin. And apparently this show has gone through a few ups and downs since it was announced. So Antonio Campos was supposed to come on board and serve as a writer and showrunner of the series. And that was announced back in October 2022. There was I don't know if it was a conflict of interest or creative differences. That's what I'm thinking of. Creative differences. So he decided to step down. Then Terrence Winter was supposed to write and executive produce, but he left in 2020 due to creative differences. Then Joe Barton was brought in to write, but then I guess his contract ended with Warner Brothers, so it was just like, I don't know, because this was originally supposed to be like a Gotham Central show, which was, centered around the police, and Jeffrey Wright was supposed to reprise this role. But yeah, I mean, it just seems like they were just trying too hard to, put a square peg in a round hole. But sometimes, things happen for a reason, and, sometimes they don't. And speaking of things happening for a reason, a UK man, glad it wasn't a Florida man this time around, by the name of Anthony Bray was sentenced to 4 months of in prison for possession of a master replica sword. Why am I bringing this up? Because it's slightly nerd related. So for those of you who don't know what the master sword is, that is the sword that Link carries in the Legend of Zelda franchise. So that's the OG OP sword that you get like basically towards the end of every single game when you fight Ganondorf. And I hate the fact that if it's a continuation of a game, you have to start over, but hey, that's the point. You got to square one and work your way back up. So Anthony Bray, who's 48 years old, of Jordell Street in Nuneaton, has been sentenced to 4 months in prison after being found in possession of a bladed article in public. So for those of you who don't know, regular citizens cannot get guns in the UK, so there's a lot of shankings going on. You can see Top Boy for that. but this actually happened in June. So basically, the article in question was a small replica of the Master Sword from the Legend of Zelda games, which had a blade total length of 6 inches. I thought they didn't use inches in the UK because it's they use metric. But the blade was inside the sheath and could be released from the sheath with the press of a button. On the 8th of June in 2024, officers were made aware through CCTV operations of a man walking down Queens Road, Nuneaton, with something in his hand. Bray approached the officers with the item in his hand visible, at which point he was arrested as he was carrying a bladed article. Bray claimed that the sword was a fidget and something, aka something to keep his hands busy, and he had bought it online as a fidget toy. And officers tried to explain to Bray that despite its intended purposes, it was in fact a sharply pointed object that could be used as a weapon and might put others in fear of it being used against them. So yeah, he was carrying it openly in the Nuneaton town center, despite admitting that it could be perceived as threatening if someone else saw it. Bray insisted during his interview that he would not use it as a weapon. So he was sentenced at the Leamington Spa Magistrates Court on the 28th of June, 2024. I'm reading it like that because that's how they do their dates in the UK. They do the day first in the month, then obviously the year. In addition to 4 months in prison, Bray is required to pay a victim surcharge of £154. Let's see how much that is in United States dollars. That is actually $197.05 in U.S. currency. Sergeant Spellman of the Patrol Investigations Unit said, "We take zero tolerance to bladed articles in public, and Bray has fallen afoul of this. It is possible to find fidget toys that aren't 6-inch blades, and it is possible not to walk down the street holding them in front of you. With a bit more self-awareness, Blade could have avoided contact with us completely." I get it, but I don't have a ruler in front of me. I was going to try to measure 6 inches with my fingers. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, they don't play about that stuff in the UK. I mean, unfortunately, I mean, he didn't do a crime, but he did have a sharp object in public, so he's got to do the time. I mean, it's the UK. From what I've heard, he might just go to like a local county lockup. I don't think he's going to go to prison. Because it was unintended. I mean, I wish they would have gave him like a time served type situation. But if you're in the UK, don't carry anything around that's a sharp tipped object. Oops. All right. So I believe it was in Boston. The Boston Fan Expo was last weekend, and Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio were there, and they were talking. Yeah, it was last weekend, and they were talking about Daredevil Born Again. I'm excited for this show, as I'm pretty sure all of us are, since we got to see. Who do we see first? Did we see Vincent D'Onofrio on Hawkeye first, or did we see Charlie Cox in Spider-Man No Way Home first? Let's look real quick. I know I'm deviating, but hey, I'm trying to make this a long episode because, like I said, there really wasn't that much news this week. So Spider-Man No Way Home was obviously 2021. And let's see when Vincent D'Onofrio was in Hawkeye. I feel like it might have been 2020, or it might have been around the same time. But let's look real quick. Vincent D'Onofrio television Hawkeye was 2021 as well. So yeah, and Hawkeye came out in November. So it looks like it was around the same time, because the first episode that Hawkeye showed up in was episode 5, which aired December 15th of 2021, even though that was technically a photo, but still. And Spider-Man No Way Home came out December 22nd? Oh, December 13th. So damn, yeah, it's pretty much the same week. I would have to look at a calendar to see what days those were, but I'm pretty sure December 13th was I'm sorry, the 17th. So yeah. So what would that be? You know what? Let me just go ahead and pull up a calendar, because like I said, I'm trying to milk this episode. Let's 2021. Yeah. So the 13th was that Monday, and the 17th was obviously that Friday. So yeah, we got our Daredevil reunion in a week. But yeah, so they were talking about Daredevil Born Again and how, it started out as a lawyer procedural a la The Practice, or I don't know, Suits, I guess. And how Matt Murdock was only going to be in the suit, it looked like maybe 3 episodes. And Marvel, decided to retool the show. So Charlie said Marvel had been incredibly open-minded and willing to course correct and incredibly supportive. Early on, we were trying something that was a bit different, and very quickly we were able to identify that it wasn't working as well as it could have, done. Where we are now, I think I can speak for both of us that we feel really happy. Vincent D'Onofrio said the best thing about the situation is what Charlie just said about the bosses at Marvel, and also the fact that Charlie and I were a team. We just supported each other in everything that each other wanted, whether we were in the scene or not, whether it featured our characters, it didn't matter. As a team, Charlie and I considered the story and the fans. Literally, I'm not shitting you. You guys, we considered you constantly and brought you up constantly. So, shout out to them for, realizing that this would have gotten a lot of negative feedback, because everybody would be like, yo, I want to watch Daredevil beat up some people, not just, Suits. If I wanted to watch Suits, I would watch it on Peacock or Netflix. But I mean, like I said, kudos to them for doing that, and, having the right amount of discernment to realize that this ain't going to work out the way you guys think it is. So I'm very grateful for them. And like I said, can't wait to see a trailer for it. Speaking of things that aren't going to work, I mean, it didn't work, but then, he got a release on Max, and then, got a physical release with no digital code, by the way. So Warner, y'all suck for that, because it wasn't supposed to be available to get purchased digitally, but now it is. So Zack Snyder teased that the Zack Snyder Justice League cut will be coming to theaters. So I know a lot of y'all don't have it, because I mean, it's been around for maybe 5 years, maybe longer than that. Let me look this up real quick. So there's a social media app called Vero that you can download that Zack Snyder uses a lot. I'm on Vero as well. Sometimes I forget that I have it on my phone. I feel like this came out before 2022. Okay, so it came out in 2015. Yeah, and I think I downloaded it in 2017 or something like that. But Zack Snyder posted a screenshot, a photo of Ben Affleck as Batman. Where is it? I saved it, didn't I? Did I not save the screenshot? Oh, crap, I didn't. Oh, well, let me go get this real quick. All right, so yeah, like I said, he posted a photo of Ben Affleck as Batman. Yes, open Vero. All right, waiting for the desktop version to load, because it's only done on an app. So he said, want to see ZSJL on the big screen. Stay tuned for a date. He posted this 4 days ago. He's got 632 comments, 2,170,000 likes. I've said it before and I said it again. Zack needs to give up the Ghost. I mean, it came out. I know it's not on the level of Avengers Endgame as far as length, because it's actually longer. Zack, I don't think anyone's going to sit in a movie theater to watch the Justice League cut that you did. I mean, I remember watching it on TV before I was able to get the Blu-ray, because we had to review it for this podcast, and I could not make it through the night, because I was like, yo, I got to get up and go to work in the morning. So unless you're doing this at a local theater or something like that, like a pop-up event, and you're going to include an intermission, I don't really think anyone's going to go see this in theaters. And even then, I don't think Warner's going to let you put this in theaters, unless you get some type of green light from Zaslav, which you might. I mean, I don't know. That guy is kind of weird. He's just messing everything up for everybody. But I don't know. I mean, would y'all go see Zack Snyder's Justice League in theaters? Because it's still on Max the last time I checked, and you can, I believe you can still get the Blu-ray. Let me go to Max real quick. I know I should have done all this before, but hey, it is what it is. Go to Max, sign in. Zack Snyder, Z-A-C-K. Yeah, it is still on Max. So both versions, the Zack Snyder's Justice League and Zack Snyder's Justice's Gray Edition. And I could have sworn my computer was on Do Not Disturb. Loco, you're texting the group while I'm recording, sir. So if you even say something about, the pinging, it's you, okay? And with that said, I'm going to take a break and y'all can listen to this ad for Dubby. This episode is brought to you by Dubby. Dubby gives you focus and energy without the crash and jitters. It has no sugar, fillers, or artificial dyes. Mix 1 packet or scoop into 8 or 12 ounces of water. Stir or shake well. Some powderiness is normal, and it has all the important vitamins. So this has vitamin C, B3, B6, and B12. And it's made from coffee fruit extract. So drink it and go conquer a task. And go to Dubby.gg and use my promo code AngryBlerd10 at checkout to save 10% on your order. That's Dubby.gg with promo code AngryBlerd10. All right, guys, welcome back. Hope you're enjoying your Dubby. Don't know what flavor you got, but you better have gotten something. All right, so I got some movie news for you guys. These are just a few quick small stories as far as the world of cinema goes. Now You See Me 3 will now be released in theaters November 14th, 2025. I don't know if they even confirmed that everybody was coming back. I think they said that Isla Fisher was coming back for this one since she didn't do the second one because I believe she was pregnant at the time. But will Lizzie Kaplan come back as well? Because I want Lizzie Kaplan to come back. Because otherwise, it's pretty much a sausage fest up in that piece.
Hey, yo!
The live-action Watch Dogs movie has begun filming, and they started filming on the 2024. On July 3rd, 2024. I just had a brain fart for some reason. But yeah, looks like it's directed by Matteo Turi, and it says it's set in the same universe as the video game franchise, which that makes no sense. So like, is this not Aiden Pierce and is going to be like another character that'll possibly be referenced in another Watch Dogs game? I don't know. And Christopher Reeve's son, Will Reeve, will be making a cameo appearance in the Superman movie that's coming out next year as a reporter. And everyone's like, oh my God, why is Will Reeve in this as a reporter? Because, spoiler alert, guys, Will Reeve is actually a reporter. I believe he works on let's see where he works. He was born in Massachusetts. He doesn't have a Wikipedia page. Yeah, I mean, no one has his he works on looks like Good Morning America and World News Tonight. So yeah, shout out to him. Had to go to ABC News to get his actual biography. Let's do this with some ASMR. Will Reeve is a New York-based correspondent reporting for all ABC platforms such as Good Morning America, World News Tonight with David Muir, Nightline, ABC News Live, and ABC News Radio. At ABC News, Reeve has reported a variety of stories and topics from 39 states, 8 countries and counting. Reeve's work as part of ABC News journalists covering a series of wildfires in California in 2019 earned him his first News Emmy nomination for outstanding coverage of a breaking news story in a newscast. In 2022, Reeve was nominated for Outstanding Live News Special for his work co-anchoring the ABC News Live special, Mission to Mars Live. Prior to joining ABC News in 2018, Reeve was a correspondent at ESPN, contributing to all ESPN platforms and shows, including its flagship SportsCenter, College Game Day, E60, and ESPN Radio. While at ESPN, Reeve also anchored the weekly MSG hockey show on MSG Network in the New York City area. Prior to his career in broadcast television in 2014, Reeves spent 2 summers as an intern at Good Morning America. Reeves serves on the board of directors at the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation, an organization founded by his late parents to finding cures for spinal cord injuries and providing quality of life care for those impacted by paralysis. Reeve also serves on the board of his middle school alma mater, the Ripplewam Sisqua School in Bedford, New York. A 2014 graduate of Middlebury College with a degree in English and American Literatures, Reeve lives in New York City. So yes, he will indeed be playing a reporter. Very. I mean, that's kind of spot on the nose. I mean, I wonder why he took up a career in journalism. Was it? I mean, I don't know, and I'm not going to assume, but yeah, and everybody's seen the leaked photos of that have been coming out for the past 2 weeks. I didn't touch on it last week, but more photos have come out, and it looks like the team is indeed founded by I almost said Mr. Terrific, Maxwell Lord, who is played by Sean Gunn. I almost said Sam Gunn. Sean Gunn. And then I almost said Pedro Pascal because he also played Maxwell Lord in Wonder Woman 1984, a movie we all try to forget. But yeah, and like a lot of people are complaining about the suit. People are complaining about David Corn Swept as Christopher. I mean, not as Christopher Reeve. I'm sorry. As Clark Kent with his hair. Everyone's like, "Yo, why he look like Tony Khan from AEW?" I got no problem with it. Okay, because if you go back and watch Superman, obviously Clark is going to be the bumbling reporter with the messy hair and everything like that. And so like his hair is like it's like very like curly and like unkempt. So like if you look at a picture of Tony Khan, you're gonna be like, oh, okay, that's the hair they're going for, which I got no problem with. Okay, because I mean, change it up a little bit. Well, anyway, guys, I think it is time for me to get into my reviews. So, cue the spoiler alert. All right, we're going to talk about A Quiet Place Day One first. A Quiet Place Day One, directed by Michael Sarnowski, and also written by Michael Sarnowski with a story from Michael Sarnowski and John Krasinski, which stars Lupita Nyong'o, Joseph Quinn, Alex Wolff, and Jaimon Hansu. So, as we all know, this is a prequel to the previous two movies. And so I saw a bunch of people complaining like, yo, this movie didn't do anything. It's a prequel. And I'm not saying that it didn't do anything, but yes, the second one also kind of gave you a flashback of what happened in day one, but they gave you a flashback of like what happened like out in the middle of like possibly wine country. I don't even know where the hell the first one's located. But this one shows you what happened in New York freaking city. So Lupita Nyong'o plays a character named Samara, who is a terminally ill cancer patient who lives in hospice outside of New York City with her cat Frodo. And Ruben, who is played by Alex Wolff, is one of the nurses who convinces her to go into the city with a group of the other patients in hospice. And she's like, yeah, I'll go, but we got to go get some pizza. And she gets dragged to a marionette show of all things. While at the show, she leaves to go get a candy bar from a corner store, or as they call it in New York, a bodega. And that's when everything goes awry. So she gets knocked out, and she wakes up and she meets Henry, who is Jaimon Hansu's character, who we saw in A Quiet Place 2. And we actually get to meet his family. So he had a wife and son, which I don't remember if they actually talked about in the first one. I mean, in the second one. But they are hunkered down in a theater where they saw the marionette show. And we actually get to see the government, destroy all the bridges because they're like, we can't let these things get anywhere else. So they're using CB radios to communicate and I believe also use Morse code to let people around the world know where these things are attacking, and what the plan is to get people out of populated areas. So the plan is to get people out of New York City out on boats because these things cannot swim. But Samira, as everyone in the movie calls her, Sam is like, I'm going to Harlem, get some pizza, okay? And Ruben, it's like, no, you got to stay here. And when they're having this conversation about going to get pizza, the generator kicks on for the theater, and Ruben turns it off. But by then, we really need a name for these monsters, bro, because we still ain't got no name. He turns it off, but the monster's in proximity, and his shirt gets caught, and yeah, that's it for Ruben. So Samira leaves, Sam leaves, and she starts making her way up to Harlem to what's the name of the pizza place? I want to say Paulie's. Um, so yeah, um, while on her way there, she meets a bunch of people who are slowly starting to make their way towards the South Street Seaport. And then, like, due to the fact that there's a lot of people, a lot of footsteps, so all that rattling, so that lets the creatures like know that people are out. Meanwhile, Eric, who is played by Joseph Quinn, pops up out of a flooded subway station and comes into contact with Frodo, who leads him back to Sam. And she tells Eric, "Oh, you need to go to the um, South Street so you can get out." But he is just so like out of it, because he's in shock. He just like follows Sam like her cat Frodo, to the point where they end up going to her apartment where she can find some pain meds for her cancer, but there's nothing there. But then Eric finds out that Sam was a writer before cancer got to her. So she's like, screw it, you can come with me to Harlem, because at this point Eric reveals that he is a law student from England, and he has no family in America. And they make their way up to Harlem, and they like cut through a subway where it's flooded, and one of the creatures is just like nestled up there. So then they have to like swim their way through like the canal, and then they find an opening was leading to a church, and that's how we find out that the creatures can't swim. Eric leaves Sam with a bunch of other people huddled up in the church to go find her some pain meds, and they eventually make it up to Harlem, and the pizza place is destroyed. So they go to this old jazz club where Sam's father used to play, and it's Patsy's. That's what it was. Um, Eric goes off to like scavenge for some more supplies, and he finds a pizza, and they sit there, they eat a slice, they drink some whiskey, and he tries to cheer her up by doing some magic tricks, and they make their way to towards like the docks where there's a boat leaving, and the creatures are just like watching. Well, they're not watching because they're blind, but they're just like along the coast, just following the boat by the sound. And Sam gives Frodo to Eric to so he can make it out. And Sam starts smashing car windows while Eric runs off to the dock. And Eric knocks over something, and he got basically the distraction went 86 because he hit something. So they started chasing him, and then Sam like hit a bus or something like that and got their attention again. While one of them almost got Eric, but he swam to the boat and found a note in Sam's sweater that she gave him. Said, take care, Frodo. Don't give him too much food because he'll get fat. And he said, and she also said, thank you for helping me. But Sam decides, to accept her fate due to the fact that she's already dying. That's why she doesn't even bother to make it to the boat, and she plays Nina Simone's Feeling Good as the creature appears behind her and it fades to black. But I can honestly say this movie was amazing. It's like I did have to get up to go pee because I made the dumb mistake of drinking like a gallon of water and not going to the bathroom before I got to the movie theater or while I was at the movie theater. So I missed maybe a minute of it while they were in the church, having a quiet conversation. But man, this movie was so freaking good, man. Y'all need to go see this movie if you haven't already. All right, but yeah, man. I hope we get to see Joseph Quinn reprise his role as Eric in the third one. Yeah, it would have been nice to see Lupita again, but I don't think the world was very kind to people with long-term illnesses after day one per se. But yeah, hopefully Joseph Quinn does come back because, like I said, he did live. So yeah, let's get into this review of The Acolyte. I need some water because that was a lot of talking. Your boy's parched. So this episode of The Acolyte was titled Teach/Corrupt, and it was directed by Hanelle Culpepper and written by Leslie Henlin and Joycelyn Beale. So Camille takes Osha to an unknown planet where he dressed her wounds and decided to thirst trap Osha in this entire episode. I'm gonna post a clip of the audio description of the episode that's literally ripped from Disney Plus. So y'all can hear this was reading a who the hell wrote romance novels? Danielle Steele or Eric Jerome Dickey. It's as he disrobes, Osha looks him up and down. But I'm just gonna put the clip here so y'all can hear it. It's just yo.
As he begins to untie a belted knot from around his waist, she straightens up for a better look. He begins to undress, revealing a prominent scar on his well-toned back. Dropping his billowy-legged hakama pants, he steps forward with the sunlight accentuating his taut muscles. He wades barefoot into the pool.
He a fan. But meanwhile, back on the ship, Sol and May pretending to be Osha are there, and they're having all types of technical problems with the ship. So since Osha was a ship tech, Sol's like, hey, can you just go check out the ship? And Basil, is it Basil or Basil? I think it's Basil. Basil and Pip are on the ship, and they're like, yo, that ain't Osha, yo. But they ain't saying nothing to Sol. So Basil plugs Pip into the ship, and Pip starts shooting oil at her, and she factory resets our boy. So, he can't say nothing. And Basil's just hiding around. And Sol is having a conversation with May like she's Osha. And I don't know if Sol was just playing dumb or what, but he eventually realized it was Osha. And I honestly don't know if Basil told him or not, because when he shoots May to stun her, Basil is standing there right next to him. But meanwhile, Vernestra takes a small group of Jedi to Kofar to find Sol, and they find the dead bodies of all the Jedi that Camille murked. And I think bro, this was the longest time we've seen a bunch of dead Jedi. We saw Jackie's corpse and we saw Yord. I was good God, man, this was just it was grim. But we got to see Vern's light whip, and everyone's alluding to the fact that maybe Camille was Vernestra's Padawan because he does have a scar on his back that looks like it was possibly from a whip. Meanwhile, on the unknown planet, Khmer is trying to like seduce Osha to come to the dark side, and I didn't bring it up last week, but the helmet and his guards are made of cortosis, which is a element that can shorten out lightsabers per se. Oh, well, not per se, but they shorten out lightsabers. So he's like, this is basically like, this cuts you off from all senses, and it allows you to get more in tune with the Force. So keep in mind, when he was fighting all them Jedi and killing them last week, he could barely see them. He could barely hear them. So the episode ends with Osha putting on the helmet and Soul telling May that he will tell her the truth about what happened on Brendok. So everyone's like, oh man, see, they done slowed down and now the Acolyte sucks again. No, it's a thriller. So, I mean, you're going to have a little bit of action, but that's usually how it goes with thrillers, people. It's like this. They told you from Jump Street, this is not an action show. This is a thriller. So we hopefully, well, we already know like next week is going to be a flashback episode because this one is once again directed by Kogonada. So I'm pretty sure like we're going to get like Soul telling May what happened at the beginning, and maybe like the next like 10-15 minutes or so are going to be a flashback of what happened on Brendok. But yeah, so that episode was good. Y'all watch The Acolyte on Disney Plus. All right, let's get into The Boys. Season 4, Episode 6, Dirty Business, directed by Kevin Gavolia and written by Anselm Richardson. So Butcher still has Samir hostage and telling him he needs to make the virus strong enough to kill Homelander. And we got a lot going on in this episode. Tech Knight hosts a party at his mansion with Newman and some of the 7 in attendance and a bunch of Republican delegates. And the boys infiltrate the party disguised by drugging the superhero web weaver, and Huey goes undercover as web weaver. And bro, Tech Knight is a fan, as Kendrick would say. Not the traditional fan, but he a freaky ass. So yeah, Tech Knight's a fan. And so he takes him down to a sex dungeon where his former sidekick was tied up to the wall in a gimp suit. I got straight Pulp Fiction vibes from that one. The Deep and the new / old Black Noir are left at the headquarters. And the guy playing Black Noir is like, yo, man, I'm done with this crap. Okay. I got all these other powers. I don't get this guy's motivation. I can fly. Black Noir can't fly. So, but whatever. Since Huey has basically gone, radio silent due to the fact that, you know, the sex dungeon has no reception, Mother's Milk, Kimiko, and Annie all sneak into Tech Knight's mansion. Annie is confronted by Firecracker, who she gives an apology to. Firecracker ain't buying it, so Annie knocks Firecracker out with a sedative. Kimiko and Mother's Milk comes across Sister Sage, and MM shoots Sister Sage in the head and begins to have a heart attack, so he thinks. Kimiko gets A-Train's attention to get him to a hospital. A-Train does indeed get MM to a hospital, and he sees a little kid who's very inspired, and you see this gleaming moment of A-Train just like looking like proud of himself because he actually did a save that wasn't, you know, a organized save, I guess. Who knows the last time he actually had a true save. But Huey is being, you know, tortured per se by, what's the old girl name again? Ashley. By Ashley, and tickled to borderline death by Tech Knight, who figures out that it's Huey and he's getting ready to drill a hole in him to fuck it. So he's got him marked like on his side, and like I guess who's gonna drill a hole in his belly button as well. So they get down there, Annie and Kimiko get down there, knock Tech Knight out, free Huey, and they basically like yo, how can you torture a masochist? And his former sidekick tells him, hey, well, he breaks himself free from the chains, takes a computer, and starts taking his money away slowly by slowly. So they donate some money to Black Lives Matter, and they find out that Tech Knight is going to use his prisons, because that's how he got his money, because his family comes from a group of slave catchers, which is very the polar opposite of Batman. I'm putting the clip from the Dark Knight Returns. I mean, not the Dark Knight Returns, from Batman Begins in here, where it wasn't necessary for that scene to be there.
In the Civil War, your great-great-grandfather was involved in the Underground Railroad, secretly transporting free slaves to the north, and I suspect these cabins came in handy.
So yeah, Tech Knight got his family got their money from prisons, and he even makes a very, like, bro, I don't see how A-Train could just be around these people, because like, bro, yeah, you would have given my great grandfather a run for his money. And his Alfred is sick and tired of Tech Knight's racist crap, so him and the former sidekick tell Annie, Huey, and Kimiko to get out. They'll take care of them. And Web Weaver safe word is Zendaya. The safe word was Zendaya, which was very crazy. And Huey has a breakdown. But yeah, Samir tells Butcher that if I make the virus strong enough to kill Homelander, it's going to be airborne, which is basically going to be genocide against all soups. Meanwhile, Becca is telling him don't do it because of Eric. And what is Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character's name? Seriously, what is his character's name? Oh, Kessler's like, nah, do it. And then he just turns to Becca and be like, yo, shut up. And cue my girl from the airplane incident from a year ago.
I don't give two fucks, but I am telling you right now, that motherfucker back there is not real.
I told y'all that motherfucker wasn't real. So Butcher's got an angel and a devil on each shoulder due to the tumor growing in his brain. Meanwhile, Firecracker tells Homelander that the boys were in the mansion, and he blames her for being a mole, and she's like, no, I'm not a mole. And he's like, give me one good reason why I shouldn't kill you. And she starts taking off her top. He's like, I'm not attracted to you. And she shoots milk at him, and we know how Homelander is when it comes to breast milk. You made my day. So he starts sucking on the booty. So I mean, Sister Sage was just out of it because she got shot in the head, so she was lobotomized, and she couldn't help Homelander give the plan out to the all the politicians. And Newman is just getting more and more buddied up with Homelander. So it's like, I saw an article on Forbes that said, this is the headline: the boys crossed the line, and it wasn't hilarious at all. And they were talking about Huey basically being sexually assaulted, and they were talking about how Eric Kripke said it was funny. I mean, it's not meant to be funny. It's literally meant to be taken serious, despite the circumstances of Huey laughing because he's getting his feet freaking tickled. But no one's taking that scene as a joke. It's part of the undercover work, unfortunately. But yeah, I don't know anybody who laughed at that scene. And like, I got to talk to, like, even like I was in a group chat with my friends, and we were talking about how messed up that scene was, and how Huey obviously was not ready to go back out in the field. That's why he had the breakdown at the end, because he literally said goodbye to his dad twice in the past 2 weeks. He said goodbye to his dad, then his dad got back up, started going all kitty pride and like phasing through people and ripping out hearts and whatnot. Then he had to put his father down. So the guy is not emotionally ready. I mean, the beginning of the episode, they're spreading his father's ashes on the Made in Manhattan tour in New York. So it's just like, nobody took that as a joke. I mean, Kripke might have said that being lighthearted, but like us as the audience, I don't think we laughed at that scene. But So yeah, guys, that was it. We got 2 more episodes of that, 2 more episodes of The Acolyte as well. And that's it for this episode, guys. So this was Bernard, and that was another episode of the Angry Blerd podcast. Be sure to rate, review, subscribe, tell a friend, Go to w.gg, use the promo code AngryBlerd10 at checkout to save 10% on your order. I don't think any movies are coming out this week that I need to review. Let me go to Fandango real quick, or Rotten Tomatoes to see what's coming out, because I'm not doing Despicable Me, I'm not doing Maxine. Yeah, I don't see anything. So I think the only thing I got is Twisters, which I'll be doing the week after, and Deadpool and Wolverine at the end of the month. So yeah, guys, that's it. I'll see y'all later. Peace.